Welcome back, fellow Armchair Generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 and Black Ice 8 and Third Reich Events mods. We're going to continue playing as we prepare for war. Okay, we're going to do a little review. And then get these slower, shorter range ships out here. We're going to base them over in Sutton. Going back to Wilhelmshaven. This is the closest thing we have to a high seas fleet here. And I am going to place these here in Kiel. We will need them for the Norway campaign. Want a blockade runner. We'll wait till... Oh, there we go. In wartime, they're not leaving the port without being escorted, but just sitting there for now. These guys get to get on board ships and go over to East Prussia. Rebase there. Okay, gun ability 4-engine airplane has advanced. That's good. Now at least some gun ability for our heavier bombers and transports. Well, you know, let's see. We're gonna gun turrets. We'll improve gun turrets. Oh, there's another tactic down. Actually, two more. Okay. Let's see. Medium armor design. Okay, that'll allow us to do... Yeah, assault guns. We like assault guns. And training, direct fire training. I'm sort of waiting for a memo. It'll help us a bit, I know. But if shortly here, if we'll get a an event or something that disrupts either national unity or descent levels. Sort of want the memo event to help cure it quickly. Officer recruitment program. Okay. Good. Cancel that because it's too far ahead now. We'll do truck and prime mover reliability improvements. think we have... Yeah. And we're going to have a very active small ship operations during the war. We're going to attach this one to Fliegerkorps Ost for now. There we are. We're saving these to attach to some anti-ship air squadrons coming up soon. Put that there to start a new. We'll get to Fliegerkorps F. And another heavy artillery. Put that one there. Now, I'm sure maybe I'm already talking to people who already all know this stuff, but look at these provinces, which ones can be attacked by multiple. Like this one could only be attacked from there. Or this one can be attacked from 2 places. Which already does have the heavy guns, going to be attacked from 3. This is 2. There's that, and this. Yeah, we'll put it there. Yes, so HD7. There we go. Alright, okay. US, fuel no. Oh good, we've got high popularity, that's nice. Oh good, we got some other stuff. Reorganized Luftwaffe command structure, okay. Okay, so this is the Wien. Reorganization. Don't want lower lords commanding a different unit. Forget who was commanding down here earlier. Probably Weber here. Or was Slow or what? Huh? No? Ah, clear for B. Knew I had him somewhere. Yes. So he has this war merit which will reduce speed. And he's tank buster. I don't know if that helps the mean, reduces reduces supply cost. So that's very useful. I'm not absolutely sure if it reduces supply cost for the fighters themselves, but I'm not sure, so I go with it might. Okay, the 10th Panzer Division. Yes, we want that. That's compared to some of the other ones, that's a pretty close time period to this. This looks like the during the invasion of France. That's my guess. I'm taking that from the model of the tank, the very clean lines, just a little bit of track and stuff stuck on it, and the British guy there in the background. That looks like a British guy to me, so it's probably, you know, prisoner of some sort or something, being a French campaign. Meaning it's not a 1944 picture or something. So put it in the production line. Maybe you can tell, and I probably said this in the last series, when I watch documentaries and they're talking about the invasion of France and they have a picture of a Tiger tank, that just, what else are they lying to me? And if they can't get the images right, what else are they lying to me about? And then they, you know, the Ardennes invasion, and they're showing a, you know, Panzer III. Well, there may have been Panzer IIIs in the Ardennes invasion, but the paint job and the style, it's a, you know, 1940s invasion of France through the same area maybe. Panzer III, it's not something that has made it through the war and would be repainted different and look different, even if it's they didn't re-gun the thing or something by that time. So I just wonder when these documentaries run photos and run video clips, motion picture clips that are just wrong. And I don't know whether they don't know any better, or they just presume we don't know any better, or what. I really wished I could have gotten into years ago. I would have loved to have made documentaries and just go collect all of the film footage you could from, you know, the Imperial War Museum, the, you know, U.S. National Archives, whatever. Make good documentaries, write the good history for it, and get good material. Because if you can't find, you know, motion picture clips for whatever battle you're talking about, can you at least get the battle on the same front at a similar time period, at this, you know, showing sort of what the conditions were like, and similarly. And there are so many photographs out there from World War II. There's photograph albums, a lot of private, you know, stuff, one-offs that people have, a lot of stuff in the National Archive, and you can do the sort of the trick, and you zoom in, you know, you get the high-quality version of these, you zoom in and zoom out and pan around in the photo to give it motion, so it isn't just sitting there still while, you know, talking about it in the documentary. So it has, you know, the picture itself may not be moving, but you're sort of moving in it, and you could do that and tell the truth with images. And that's what I really try to do as much as I can with TRE, is tell you the truth with the images. Okay, Stutzkampffliegerschulen. Okay, looks like a bombing school. Okay, 250 money, metal, supplies. Gain 500 officers. Yay, we could use that. We're at 100 right now. Who cares? 2 manpower to run the school and a bunch of tech improvements. Great. Great, 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 great. Now we're going to see when we get ready to invade Poland. I was just looking at this. Like this province here has an armaments factory. These, my understanding is once they're damaged, even just 1% damage, they're no longer useful at all. You can't repair them. So this is going to change my tactic here. Instead of invading this province, I'm going to leave this province alone and invade around it. Obviously the IC is repairable, those ICs will be repairable, and these mines and steel factories here will be repairable. So if there's combat fighting over the city, they'll be repairable. So we'll see what we can do. And this is not a victory point hex, so we can just leave it alone, whether we surround it or not. But I'm not going to move a single attack unit, not going to bomb in there. So maybe they'll retreat out and then we'll occupy it, or when we hit the right victory conditions and win, we'll get it. Though I've heard reports, particularly I think dealing with France, this is somebody was doing a similar sort of thing. There were provinces with, I don't know where, but now we're in victory. Let's go over to this mode. Obviously, you gotta, because France fights, unlike history, France fights over Paris. There's the tank factory here now. That's in Vichy, France, but there may be a few, and now some places there may be that we're not going to be able to not fight, like in here. Should be in Liège. Now here's one that maybe they just didn't care about or knew it was going away, but Liège is a major armaments factory, and that should have armaments, not tanks. They didn't, the Dutch, or the Belgians, sorry, the Belgians, I know who they are. Really didn't build any significant numbers of aircraft, and definitely had some little light tractor thingies that I don't even think were armored. I think if I'm picturing it right, but they didn't have tanks, so not tank factories, but armaments factories, Liège, Fabrique Nationale, major armaments factories. But that's something I don't think I can not fight over. So it wouldn't help. But though I might, well, I don't know if I'm going to create one for this version, but that would be something I would consider, creating an event that would in essence allow you to rebuild it. The idea is either you allow them to build it and so then they can be built, or you don't allow them to build it and they can't be rebuilt. So there is some balance issues there too, I understand. So that you just in both the sense that you just don't overbuild some of the unit types to where if you build enough of the tank factories, tanks would be cost nothing to build, or if you captured enough, they could theoretically cost nothing to build. So there is a balance issues, because obviously it still costs something to you to build tank units. That shouldn't go away, even if it should be easier. Money for fuel, no, not that much, not from you. So I'm going to try to get some of them intact, but we will see. Okay, Deutschland, or Deutsches Land in Africa. This is a documentary type movie on former German colonies, basically. See the poster for it and some of the stills from it. It paints a picture that Germany was good for Africa. I don't know that that's quite true. Covers a lot in Tanganyika here, but in here and there it's mainly talking about yeah, it's in German, and I don't remember if it has, does it have? I think it has subtitles. Boy, it's been a long time since I've seen it. It's on YouTube, and you can go to the channel, well, you're on the channel, obviously. Just go down to movies featured in TRE, and you can find it if you want to watch it. But it covers, in Southwest Africa, it covers the African, the Germans living in Africa, youth movement there, and more with that. So that's what that is. Some people complain that it's Nazi propaganda. Yeah, or a person did. Yeah, it is, and it should be taken as such. We shouldn't forget these things. We should know what they were, know what they were saying. if you're swayed by a movie that is very out of date and whose ideas are not generally thought of appropriate today, well then there may not be too much hope for you. Okay, sending the Ordnungspolice into Bohemia and Moravia. Yes, we will. Again from Rob Overheld's GGA mod. Okay, light armor designs have advanced. That is good. Okay. Well, let's go with improved gun here. It's one thing, in my opinion, to be swayed by the propaganda beforehand, before you know what they were doing. Now afterwards, and you got the whole picture, you start watching the propaganda, you start going, yeah, that's right, I agree with that, and then you're already lost. Sorry. So now we have this here. Once we get, we'll attach that to the SSHQ. Okay, Radio Zeesen for Arabic and Persian languages. I also threw in the Turkish flag, but I don't know if it was also, it was sent, and it was to broadcast in the Muslim world, and obviously the Quran theoretically and technically is only allowed to be written in Arabic, so some Turks will have some Arabic, I'm sure, but it's an outreach program to the Muslims. Oh no, it's in Persian, Turkic, and Hindi. Yeah, I created the event, guys, but I don't remember all the details, sorry. So it's, I didn't do India because, but it's a, set up shortwave, long range radio. Davud Manrajshidi, along with this other guy, worked on the Persian program for them. That's this guy. He later goes to Iran and establishes the Iranian Nazi Party. I cut off his armband, which is his version, his take on a swastika. It is not a swastika, it's something else. I cut it off because the party didn't exist at the time, and he didn't use it as the best, closest period photo. Again, like I said, I try to tell the truth in photos. It's the best photo I could find of him that could be of the period. I think it's more like 1950 instead of 1940. Close as I could get. But so he sets up the Iranian Nazi Party that had significant influence in Iran, even though it never really won anything. And I would very much contend the modern Iranian state has adopted a lot of elements of his Nazi Party. Yes, it's modified for a Nazi Party. Obviously it's getting rid of all the Nordic mumbo jumbo, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, that Himmler and the other guys were adding. Hitler too, the various runes and all that stuff that they were adding to it, so it isn't the German Nazism. And as you know, that during this time, before this time, Persia changed its name to Iran to appeal to the Nazis as the land of Aryans or whatever. So that they were already trying to get on board with the National Socialist movement. Obviously, under the mullahs, it's much more tied in with the Islamic movement, but it still has a lot of Nazi elements into it, or National Socialist elements to it, and that includes nationalism. That includes a lot of their economic policies instead of free market type policies, but also very much their anti-Semitic policies. I don't believe the Persians, well, I know the Persians weren't that anti-Semitic beforehand. The Persians, prior to the mullahs taking over under the Shahs, did have a very pro-Israel policy. Which, yeah, I know I was just saying that they had taken the name Iran to appeal to the Germans, but the Shahs did go to a pro-Israeli policy, and that was one of the main features when the Ayatollahs took over, was immediately setting up a heavy anti-Semitic policy. So these are all coming out of the fundamental basis of German National Socialism. So we can spend some supplies and improve our relations with that part of the world. Yes, I know Egypt no longer exists, but as a state within parts of Iron right now. But okay, airborne assault tactics have advanced. That's good. That's down here. We'll let that run one more level at least. SSHQs. 1940 levels. Well, since we have all those Marine Divisional HQs, we'll switch to that. Gets up to organize them up. And yes, we need to. Well, that's a pretty good picture for that. Meaning I can't readily date that photo, because the camouflage uniforms were in use in '39 through to the end of the war. And the machine gun, maybe that's an MG42, but I really can't tell. You can blow up the picture, I might be able to, but I really can't date that photo. So that's good. Good photo. Yeah, I know I have my pet peeves, and most players, it doesn't matter. Ah, yes. Another event from George 1941. Again, thank you, George. Goebbels announced the winter help for basically winter relief. Well, it should be for the population of the winter of 1938 to 1939. Earned 11 million, over 11 million Reichsmarks. So we'll get some more money, supplies, lose dissent, and we gain some popularity. Good. Well, we haven't had any events increasing dissent of recently. See if we waited till this time to take over Czechoslovakia or something, which we gain a big dissent ticket. Some of these events would come in handy in reducing it. Okay, engineer unit training has increased. Okay. Now we will convert that over to bridging equipment. Both bridging and forward attack are very important. Research them. They'll keep you moving. Okay. No, not Rommel. We're giving you your historic division. Into fairly mobile infantry divisions to supplement things. For some reason, the AI likes Foster. Very soon, and maybe, yeah, around this time, I think I'm going to, for the next episode, maybe do a reorganization episode without any time on the clock. I'll clearly let people know what it is. You may not want to sit there and watch me do a lot of clicking without anything interesting else going on. Okay, Czech artillery system. Like I was saying earlier, before Czechoslovakia had a significant arms industry that was fairly modern. Some of their calibers matched Germans, others didn't. One that I know that didn't, that Germany kept in production, was the Czechs developed a really nice 47mm anti-tank gun that the Czechs, I don't think, ever mounted on anything. They may have done it in some of their forts, but it never got mounted on a tank. That the Germans, I don't know whether they just captured a lot of them, but I also think they produced a bunch, and they mounted on holes of the Panzer I to create the Jag Panzer I. The early tank killers mounted on that. Okay, so over 2,000 guns, including 100 or 500 anti-aircraft guns, over 700 mortars, 132 mountain guns. Presumably most of the rest are artillery as opposed to. This is, I think, the 47mm anti-tank gun mounted in a ground mountain guns, regular sorts of artillery. So yes, we'll gain a bunch of supplies, improved artillery capabilities, and these are our. There was some manpower hit there. We'll get a bunch of artillery units that we can assign to divisions. So now we have to keep that in mind in building units, because we have a bunch of those. Okay. Well, the 1940 Olympics have been scheduled for Japan. I think specifically Tokyo, but I'm not sure, but Japan. Well, Japan wasn't behaving very friendly, very nice at this time. Obviously now they've even carved up more of China than they had at this point. But because of this, because not just that they were at war with China, but that's a significant element. It was because of things like Nanjing. Nanjing is here. Nanjing and other incidents that it was taken away from them. It was decided that Germany's had a nice facilities here already from last Olympics. They'd hold the winter. They needed the mountains to do the winter, and my understanding is, from looking at maps, Finland is in essence flat, so we'd get the summer games in Helsinki. So we're looking for it. We have to prepare, get ready for that. Okay, the Reich colonial day, or whatever, but the Bund in Vienna, whatever, Vienna, had a fairly big rally. This is mostly just to remind you, hey, think about going to Tanganyika eventually. The interesting thing there was the black gentleman with the veterans, World War I veterans. You can see they're getting a bit large for their uniforms and a bit older, but yeah, But they're carrying their nice little swastika armbands, and they have a black gentleman with them, yes, who also has a swastika armband on it, if you see. Thought that was an interesting photo. You don't see many photos, and that's a real photo, not a doctored thing, but you don't see many photos of black men in Nazi uniforms in peaceful Germany, in Germany, in Nazi uniforms, and that's what that guy was wearing. Now, he was a veteran, I presume, of the colonial war, so he was presumably a member of the, the veteran, the African veteran subgroup organization, and even with all the Nazification of Germany and everything, he was still in uniform, wearing the swastika in a public setting, and that was a photo that was out there. So I thought that was very interesting. Obviously, once you get the war going, fuel, you start getting various, mostly Arab black, meaning mostly blacks from, there are a fair number of blacks here or from in the Sudan that speak Arabic. They've had multiple generations living in the Arabic world, and they sort of see themselves as a type of Arab. And those are the ones that you normally see, the black guys in German uniform with the Arab arm patches. But those generally don't, unless they have a Wehrmacht eagle that has a swastika on it, you generally don't see a party political Nazi symbols on it. How's production doing? Okay, we're back to producing the knives now again. The Short Horse is coming along, 1940. Won't be soon, obviously, into 1940. But as you know, my main tactic is to avoid direct battle with the British fleet. So even if we get the ships out to sea, we're going to mostly avoid combat unless it's small unit stuff in protected waters like in the Baltic, going after the Soviets. Yeah, I did ship in divisions. I have to get some HQs for those. That SA unit can't do much. It can support an attack, that's what I'll be using. Okay, so now we are, a bunch of other stuff come available. Yep, okay. As you can see, I'm not very scientific with this stuff. I'm just sort of go by feel or instinct. And as you can see, it's sort of my plan is these are, getting near to done. These are, been under production for a while, just shortly, so that they're rolling through. Instead of 4 or 8 or whatever all come now and then immediately start over, so you're losing the practicals as they're going along and then hitting it to stagger them. I think this is better. Now you could set this up in a way that you also do some serially and just ease your micromanagement, but I guess I just like micromanagement enough to do it. And I say I like it, I do. Okay. but I will like the new stuff that they get production lines for Hearts of Iron 4. Okay, there, that's almost. Okay, we don't need more of those right at the moment. Some submarines. Get 4 submarines out there. All right, let's see. Carpet bomber. I would rather use somebody, and I may have been saying this too often already, but somebody that has no specialized skill, like Sussman here, than use somebody with a different specialized skill, just because given time he can gain the trait, and if I'm building more units that you need the specialized guy, I'd rather have them available. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is the 11th down there. We'll get rid of Rommel. Well, actually I don't care about Rommel. You can stay there for the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to move the 22nd headquarters. This is going to become the 22nd division. So we'll swap out this headquarters and use it for something else. Okay, another infantry division. Okay, we lost the effects of land power for some reason, not quite sure, but we've gained the effects of regional air power. I see efficiency down a little bit, but air organization is up a lot. No. Okay, well we can. I want to improve relations. Fighter pilot training. So just ground crew. Yeah, I keep checking to see if anything else is popping up there. Okay, this is getting a little too low for me. still want to influence. Yeah, so even more. And we're still bouncing around like 99, 100. I want to get it substantially higher. Okay, May Day, May 1. Großdeutschland, Greater Deutschland. This is very much a DAF, Deutsches Arbeitersfront celebration promoted up. Nationally, I think I talked about the first year way back when that they did this in 1933. When they first got into power, they went with the socialists and convinced them to organize up a big joint National Socialist and Socialist May Day. The first sort of, it was either 33 or 34, but I think it was 33. The first nationally recognized German holiday of May Day. Big joint, like I was saying, celebration with both parties. We're all workers together out there and had a really great day. The very next day, May 2nd, they raided every single socialist union office everywhere. Got all their files and arrested a bunch of the leadership the very next day. And of course, at least the upper leadership, not the your average, National Socialist Union member who was out there celebrating with the socialists knew about this, of course, because it was be kept secret, but the leadership knew. And this is also very much used to replace Christian holidays, because unlike sort of the May Day workers, things that go on in Europe that I think are very non-religious, or just sort of, a workers' day off and celebration in much of Europe, Germany was really trying to push paganistic elements to the May Day celebration as well. Okay, well, we're gonna, which I think will help us out in a few areas as well, but we're gonna take this. Claims on Memel. Memel, obviously what had been, I believe, part of the Kaiser Reich, part of Germany, but with the creation of Lithuania, Germany losing the war, it was given over to Lithuanians to give them a port. I gather there's something of a port there, but I don't think it was anything like Memel. But my understanding is that it was very much a German-speaking city. It was similar in cases like Danzig. It was not a city significantly populated by Lithuanians. What would have German Greater Reich be if they had won territory-wise? I don't know. But the Nazis did not have really harsh feelings about the Baltic states, and some of them had actually very good feelings about the Baltic states and the peoples there. Unlike Poland, which they basically wanted to erase from the map and more or less erase the people, whether that meant, you know, training them to be Germans, teaching them, German and enculturating them into the German system, or killing them all. I don't know if they ever really thought they were going to kill them all, or just move them in batches at some point further east. But one way or another, they were very much planning on getting rid of Poland as an existing state. Whether these guys under the Nazi plan would have been independent states, puppet states, or semi-autonomous regions in the Greater Reich, or just provinces that allowed other ethnicities to hold jobs and be, active citizens. I don't know. But at this time, Hitler did not have, and this was before setting up the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, he really didn't have plans of forcing Lithuania into a war, a training war, or trying to conquer the territory. It really was just, hey, we want the German-speaking town back, or city. So we get that, and we lose 5 in dissent if we had that. Like I say, that would have been nice. I was just sort of waiting because I was hoping for some big dissent hit to hit. And it didn't, but oh well. Okay. Money for fuel? No. Well, even with that, we just went down to medium popularity. Okay, we'll get another industrial zone. Okay, MAG, one of the major tank manufacturers. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. You Germans can write thank you notes if you like at the bottom of the video. For not me trying to butcher that. One of the major things. So we'll gain a tank factory. We actually gained the anti-aircraft guns, even though it says we lose them. In Brunswick. We can make sure of that. So we are at 8 already. Even if we do lose them, it's fine. And we already have a armaments factory. Oh, like I say, we gained them. You saw the evidence there. It's something to do with the engine. It's not bad coating on the Black Ice Guys parts. They're doing good, so I know I code it right by the suggestions, and sometimes it says you gain, sometimes it says you lose. So I don't know what's up with it. I don't know if there's some little trick in the coding that we just don't know, like order a placement or something that doesn't affect on how it works, but just affects how it shows up, when you do the mouse over. Okay, another GGA event. The Wehrmacht's military occupation of Bohemia and Moravia. We can decide not to do it, but we're going to take it. Generally, these are does give us greater local risk revolt, but we have various, and I don't know how well that's going to work. Some of the events set up to have a minimum risk revolt. So let's just see right now before this happens. Okay. Volt risk currently is at 0 with these. Axis +2, Black Ice +4. But then the state press give them cake, 5, and suppression, because we have the massive police presence currently in there, right in the province there. So obviously it's 0, but some of these things you can, and I don't know that this does it, you can say like revolt risk +2, but also give it a minimum revolt risk of like 1 or 2, so that no matter what you do, you won't go below that. So you would need to have occupying troops. So, but we want to do this, and you can decide not to do it, of course. Half the reason I'm doing it is just for history purposes. When you get these events for occupying like Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Poland, you want to take them because there you have real other revolt risks, and this will help by giving you auxiliary type troops cheaply, because this is cheap, and so that we get the military to go along with the police here, the garrison. That will help keep down a combination of those units. Well, and if we, let's see if we look now. Okay, so we see German military administration in this section +2. Now we're still, it doesn't give a you know, must have a minimum revolt risk of a certain amount. So we are well within it, and even without the suppression there, we would still be within it. Maybe just barely, but we would be there. So it's a good thing overall. I don't know why these have such revolt risks. Oh, obviously it's a game mechanic reason, but I don't know what it is. I don't think the Netherlands were that much turmoil. I know there were some fascist movements and stuff going on. Okay. Ohan. That's this gentleman here. He was the first developer in Germany of jet engines. This is a jet engine here. This was his primary mechanic or crafter. This was almost literally done like in a garage, including building this first prototype. There's several different, there's I think 3 basic different ways at this time period to build jet engines. It's sort of hard to describe here without showing photos. But this was the doesn't go and describe it. Maybe I could better find a good written description. But the basic 3 styles was the German, the Italian, and the British. The British have a distinction in their way their models are, I think, a bit more efficient, but they have to be big and round like this to work. And it's been a while since I was looking up on this stuff. Where this later on, which they do, is they can elongate it so that it's much more aerodynamic. The Italians used a third different sort of a hybrid type. No, it's not hybrid, it's part electric. It's different, sort of a hybrid type jet engine. So we can, and he was set up to test on a Heikel. We can, if you don't want to, I've been told, and I sort of looked quickly, the jet technology and for the cost of the jets, it really isn't necessarily that much better than simply sort of maxing these standards out. But I sort of have a want to move down this. I haven't done this yet, but probably we're going to start doing the rocket engine, fairly soon here. And if you want to, for coolness factors, have the jets. They are good to have. It just, on a cost-benefit analysis, and they're maybe not quite as good as they were historically over the standard. So you might choose not to do it. But if you don't go down this path, you won't get future events that will help you down the path. So just a few days research improvements here, but we can put some money or some resources towards it. So we're going to do that. Large fuel tank prototype. Research has approved. Okay, we can do heavy bombers if we want. We're going to move it over to light bombers. But at some point we will. Okay, I think this is a good place to stop. Session's gone on long enough. I hope you're enjoying it. We can take a quick look over it. China's the only other action going on. Like I say, they're losing here. I think that's significantly because the units here are running out of supplies. Chinese are still holding out. Chongqing. Doesn't appear that they have any fortresses. Oh, they have desperate defense there. Okay, so that's probably one. Do they have desperate defense? Yeah, they got it there too. So that is a massive, in essence, fortification there. They'll fight hard for that there. A desperate defense everywhere here? No, but okay. Oh, so this is what they've done. Okay, so out here, well, this building is, yeah. So they're fighting. So in some places they have desperate defense, in some places they don't. But I'm, well, okay. Oh, well, let's see. There's a victory. No? So they're just doing that to make some of this harder to get at. Not here, so okay. Okay, well, see what you learn in any. So once you get out to the coast, it's easier to take. Desperate defense, it's not. Okay. How interesting. Yeah. Cool idea, Black Ice guys. Whether it was Panzeroo or one of the other ones came up with that. Cool idea. Okay, that'll be the end of the episode. Thank you again for liking the videos and posting comments. I do, whenever I get it, if I get the notification, I go on and see that somebody's posted. Sometimes I may not scroll down far enough to see all of the, you know, 2 or 3 people posted on a thing, but I try to answer everything. So, thanks a lot.